George Santayana was an American Spaniard, known for being one of the most critical thinkers and key philosophers of the early 20th century. After receiving his PhD and becoming a faculty member at Harvard University, he would go on to write The Life of Reason, a 5-volume piece of literature that focuses on his morality views as he explores the phases of human progress. This historic work is covered as Reason in Common Sense, Reason in Society, Reason in Religion, Reason in Art, and Reason in Science. These legendary pages seem to have produced many of quotes for philosophers and generations to come to ponder on, but one in particular seemingly catches my eye during our current state of being. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. A quote that emphasizes how we are in a constant societal loop, and how we are doomed to its continuous shortcomings if we cannot learn from the generation before us. Now what if I told you that the quote is still applicable to today's times? Better yet, what if I told you the exact event in which this quote is referring to? Because George Santayana was not just a philosopher. He was not just an author, but a time traveler as well. You see, we spent generations thinking that he was just referring to the cycle of wars, or the cycle of revolutions, when in reality, he was alluding to something way deeper than what we could possibly understand. Ladies and gentlemen, he was referring to the cycle of popularity in minion humor. It's Minion Mania, everyone, with the 5th installment in the Despicable Me franchise having a go at things with Minions: Rise of Gru. In this film, we see the early strides in a relationship that we see so closely bonded in earlier films between the Minions and Gru, as they team up to face a conglomerate of other competitive and dangerous villains. Now, disregarding the fact that we have another banger to add to the franchise, I find it kind of funny how the most interesting part of the movie wasn't even shown on screen. It was actually the massive amount of public support that the movie has gathered even from before its original release. Massive hordes of people online sharing their general excitement for this movie, thus leading to hundreds of people all over their local theaters, dressed up in their suits and ties as they prepare to cheer to the top of their lungs for these little yellow people, all while dubbing it the GentleMinions movie. And I'm not even gonna lie, I was a part of it. And of course, I had to go to a showing near a college town so I could really feel the movement in full effect. Definitely a 10 out of 10 experience. Watching this movement as a whole in play really made it seem like it was 2015 Facebook all over again. Not only in the fact that the Despicable Me franchise is almost back near the top, with this newest release breaking the $200 million mark and almost cracking top 10 in the box office in only 4 days, but as a whole it furthers the chokehold that the Minions continue to have on media 12 years later. And it's doing this all over again using the same way it did back in 2010. Through the memes. Now, if you have been active on social media any time during the last couple of months, you know another film was the recipient of this meme barrage as well, except its results were drastically different, to put it lightly. But would it be crazy to say that Minions: Rise of Gru is just Morbius done right? Alright, not in the sense that they share a similar plot, but in the reception that both obtained from the general audiences. Both franchise movies to long-standing film series, the Minions of course being Despicable Me, and Morbius having connections to the MCU and Sony Marvel films. They both become viral meme trends that help bring hype to releases that would have otherwise been just another average kid or action movie. In both films, public antics have caught the attention of the creators behind the film. So why is it that Morbius is seen as a flop in which Minions seem to thrive off of? I mean, they are both two films that jokes are being pulled and that the value of entertainment is being exaggerated to the point of being laughable. It's easy to just chalk it up to just internet, and that's it. And while that is a huge factor, as there is no predicting what could be a trend from one day to the next, there is no denying that the Minions had some underlying advantages that keeps it ahead of the curve. Not even just in the more obvious ones, such as Despicable Me producing multiple films that have accumulated close to or reached over $1 billion since 2010, while Morbius couldn't even land a solid release date for years, and was coming from a studio that didn't have a single other Marvel-related film that was universally agreed upon to be good to their name. But Minions in general have a more crowd-appealing presentation. Like it's a kids movie that is catered specifically to be ridiculous. It's able to poke fun at itself and rely on dumbed down forms of entertainment, such as fart jokes, to get a laugh. Now compare this to the overly dramatic horror flick in Morbius, which takes itself way too serious. Minions is stupid on purpose, and Morbius is stupid on accident. And I don't know about you guys, but I like my stupid to have intentions. My biggest takeaway, however, is honestly how impressed I am that the Minions have been able to come back after years of being the peak symbol for cringy and out-of-touch humor. Seems like everyone has a shared experience of having a parent or relative crack up or post a picture of a minion on top of an image with a random text that says something in which they are trying way too hard to be relatable. It's essentially then become a meme in itself, with people adding random text on top of that. This during the edgy era as well, so it would usually be something graphic to catch people off guard. But it seems like we have implemented a fundamental rule of Mr. George, as we have seemingly come full circle as a society. Even if the specific aspects of laughter has shifted slightly, from us laughing at the genuine antics that the minions would be up to in each movie, to us laughing at the comical length one would go to show their enjoyment and support of this film. The point is all the same. It all leads back to us viewing these yellow chads and overalls as a source of entertainment. You also have it being amplified due to the dash amount of nostalgia being added to the mix as well. As if you look at the main culprits of the GentleMinion movement, you see it's mostly people a part of the Gen Z. People that were kids when the original Despicable Me movies were being released in those early 2010s. And the Minions aren't the only ones thriving from this principle. It's why every couple of months we see another glow-up trend, with someone flexing how they got better looking over the years. Or another trend of finding a comedic way to share some sort of trauma on the internet, with maybe a different song in the background to separate itself from the trends that come before it. Because that's what it is at the end of the day. A trend. Social media trends are quite literally the key into looking at the human progression, as it has easily become our main source of entertainment, and in a lot of cases our main source of society in modern times. It is the most forward, obvious, and modern definition of a cycle, as it goes from an uprising of a trend, people participating as it seems fun, the peak, and eventually decline as it becomes played out to the point that entertainment can't be extracted from that trend anymore. And then an eventual revival of some sort based on newer people picking up the trend to extract their enjoyment out of it, in addition to some elements of slight nostalgia that may come with it, that will add to another layer of entertainment from fulfilling the trend. Ultimately, like the start, finding itself back on the shelf in a couple of months. The Minions took over the world back in 2010s, and because of its kid-targeted nature, and its ability for enjoyment to be extracted by an older audience, it was still able to maintain a grip on relevance, despite it being a symbol of lack of entertainment that can come from social media. But they were able to stay relevant enough for that when it came time for its revival, they had just enough in the steam to use their wider audience to their advantage. And that's how the Minions unintentionally beat the system. At the end of the day, I'm not even gonna lie to you, the internet's gonna do what the internet's gonna do. I could be speaking complete cap right now, and Morbius could tomorrow be the #1 movie of all times, thanks to a trend where people sneak, I don't know, avocados into the theater. Who honestly knows? I just really need an excuse to talk about the movie, and it was either this or do a 30-minute breakdown about how Otto is a... All I know for sure is that Minion Mania is in full effect again, and you might want to join the board before it closes, or until Despicable Me 4 drops in 2024.